We are at a time where we find ourselves as a country testing our infant constitution, because it's still in its infancy. It's 13 years, if I'm not mistaken, since 2013. Yeah, it should be. I said I'm mature enough for what ZANU-PF want to do. But ZANU-PF is ZANU-PF. Nonetheless, we find ourselves in a case that has got fundamental issues. Uncle Gerard, first thing that I want to pinpoint, which you might have pinpointed, access to constitutional court can only, in most instances, be granted when there are fundamental human rights that are threatened. You won't have access to the highest court because we are dealing with the highest court, so whatever it decides becomes a precedence. A precedence is a binding decision inokwanisa kuzoshandiswa in deciding other cases, future cases that will be of similar nature. And we find ourselves where our Bill of Rights is put to test. Both political rights are not just political rights, but they are also part of the Bill of Rights for every Zimbabwean. A right to vote, a right to associate is in the same category as the right to life, right to health, right to trade, employment, and you name all 43. There are about 43 rights that are in the Bill of Rights, if my mind serves me correct. So this case, it has got two sides, Uncle Gerard. It might be a genuine interest in preserving the Constitution, or a test to test the waters that if the judges swerves, they will swerve in which direction. Are they going to protect their principle, or are they protecting the interest of Zimbabweans? In a sober and a normal country with independent judiciary, the courts would not even be swerved to make a decision that warrants the protection of interest of citizens. The right to vote, Uncle Gerard, it's a universal right, universal suffrage. Zimbabwe is a signatory to a lot of United Nations protocols, including the protocol to in political and social economic rights. You name them. All those protocols that it became a signatory after the Second World War. Upon attaining independence, Zimbabwe signed a number of protocols. Those protocols, they are binding, and one of the binding rights in those protocols is the right to participate in politics of your country, to vote, to choose the leaders of your choice uninterrupted. So when we say a party's interest, Uncle Gerard, subject the whole nation to have their political rights suspended for an individual, you find a country that has shifted from its international obligations, international, regional, and otherwise. And with this case, Uncle Gerard, the judges will be tested about their impartiality, whether they are impartial in terms of the outcome of that decision, how they are going to decide if they are in the interest to throw away the case after submissions, to say, no, it's just a political argument that has been drawn to the judiciary where it should end in parliament or in other spaces. It will just be those arguments that they will put away to clear the space for Mnangagwa. But we are in a situation whereby we need to be prepared for anything. The outcome may favor or might be favorable, and we are not sure of who is funding the Kufuzwa and the others. There are paramount rights that are hedged by section 328. Am I correct? 238. What that section, because that's the one section of the constitution that they are more worried about, because it protects all other rights that affect the Bill of Rights. Any fundamental right, besides the election of the president, the term extension, if you read deeper, Ango Gerard and the 167, they talk about instances where fundamental rights are threatened, how courts should act, and how parliament should act before everything is brought to the courts. If ZANU-PF done what they need to do, or it's just an issue that they are pushing, those are some of the issues that we need to look at as a people, to say, are we not diving in a trap to take matters to the court, to create a platform for precedents that can backbite us? For now, I yield so that we allow others to submit and hear further discussions coming from as fellow citizens.
President Emerson Mnangagwa returns to work after a month-long leave to face an explosive cabinet meeting, as tensions peak over far-reaching constitutional and legal reforms spearheaded by Justice Minister Ziambi. At the center of the storm is a deadly succession battle between Mnangagwa and Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. Chiwenga is expected to make a last stand to block reforms widely viewed as paving the way for Mnangagwa's controversial 2030 political project, including a possible 2-year extension that could stretch his rule to nearly 13 years. This drama unfolds just a day after the Constitutional Court granted activist Mbuso Fuzwayo direct access to challenge the 2030 agenda. Amid accusations, the case is collusive and designed to legitimize the plan through judicial maneuvers. Behind closed doors, battle lines are drawn. Chiwenga won round 1 on December 16, 2025, blocking Ziambi's proposal on procedural grounds. Today, Mnangagwa and his allies are back, ready for confrontation. If Chiwenga falters, the succession race could dramatically shift, with retired General Philip Valerio Sibanda emerging from the shadows and businessman Kudakwashe Tagwere also in the frame. Yet Chiwenga, though under pressure, especially after the exit of war veteran leader Blessed Geza, remains a leading contender. A senior cabinet minister confirms Ziambi will retable a constitutional amendment bill, triggering the executive process that could fast-track sweeping changes, with possible shortcuts. Today's cabinet meeting may define Zimbabwe's political trajectory for years to come.